News of Jake's perfect performance spread throughout the Galactic Military Academy like wildfire. By the next morning, senior officers from every branch of the galactic military had requested copies of his test results. The simple human with the primitive weapon had done something that military experts had thought was impossible. Jake was eating breakfast in the Academy cafeteria when Commander Zalneth approached his table. The Corvin officer looked uncomfortable, as if he was about to say something difficult. "Cadet Morrison," he began formally, "General Kekstar has requested that you demonstrate human weapons technology to the Advanced Tactics class. Would you be willing to instruct other cadets?" Jake nearly choked on his food. Yesterday, these same officers had been laughing at his rifle, and now they wanted him to teach classes about it. "I'd be honored, sir," he managed to say. Katie grinned at him from across the table. "I told you that your rifle would impress them eventually." The Advanced Tactics classroom was packed when Jake arrived. Not only were all the senior cadets present, but instructors from different departments had come to observe. General Kekstar sat in the front row, his damaged quantum disruptor on the desk beside him as a reminder of yesterday's equipment failures. Jake set his rifle on the demonstration table and looked out at the audience. A week ago, he had been nervous about fitting in at the academy. Now he was teaching alien military officers about human technology. "Human weapons development follows a different philosophy than most galactic species," he began. "We focus on reliability and effectiveness rather than advanced features or maximum power." Vexthara raised her hand. "But how can simple technology compete with advanced systems? Our weapons have targeting computers, automatic range finding, and energy output far beyond chemical propulsion." Jake picked up his rifle and began disassembling it while he talked. "All those advanced features become weaknesses when they fail. My rifle has 37 moving parts total. How many components does your plasma rifle have?" Vexithara consulted her technical manual. "The Mark 7 plasma rifle contains 2,847 individual components, not counting the ammunition cartridges. Every one of those components can fail," Jake explained. "The more complex a system is, the more ways it can break down. We learned this lesson during our early space wars." Dr. Kilnseth was taking detailed notes. "Can you explain the maintenance requirements for human weapons?" Jake showed them his cleaning kit, which fit in a small pouch. "Basic maintenance takes about 10 minutes. Complete disassembly and cleaning takes 30 minutes. I can do field repairs with simple tools, and replacement parts are interchangeable across thousands of different rifle models." A Helix instructor clicked in amazement. "Our bioneural weapons require specialized technicians and laboratory conditions for any maintenance beyond basic calibration." General Kekstar leaned forward. "What about ammunition? Surely chemical propellants have limitations compared to energy systems." Jake pulled out a box of bullets and showed them to the class. "These cartridges will function reliably for decades if stored properly. They work in any environment where the rifle itself functions. No power cells to drain, no energy matrices to align, no quantum states to maintain." Theclon studied the simple ammunition with his compound eyes. "But the power output must be inferior to energy weapons." "Power isn't everything," Jake replied. He projected a holographic display showing ballistics data. "A single bullet from my rifle carries enough kinetic energy to penetrate most personal armor. The key is putting that energy exactly where you need it." Sithara looked confused. "How do you achieve such accuracy without computer assistance? The targeting calculations must be incredibly complex." Jake smiled. "We learn to do the calculations ourselves. Every human soldier studies ballistics, wind compensation, range estimation, and target tracking. When you understand your weapon completely, you don't need a computer to tell you how to use it." He demonstrated by estimating the range to various objects in the classroom, then confirming his estimates with a manual rangefinder. His calculations were accurate within a few centimeters every time. "This is why human weapons work in any environment," Dr. Kilnseth said suddenly. "The soldier becomes the targeting computer, the maintenance system, and the tactical processor. The weapon is just a tool that the human operates." General Kekstar nodded slowly. "In my experience, the most dangerous enemies are those who can function when their equipment fails. Humans have built this capability into their entire military system." A senior instructor from the engineering department raised her hand. "Are there any disadvantages to this approach? Surely there are situations where advanced technology provides benefits." Jake considered the question carefully. Human weapons are less powerful than energy systems in terms of raw output. We can't melt through starship armor or create gravitational fields, but in infantry combat, reliability matters more than maximum power. He pulled up combat statistics from recent galactic conflicts. Energy weapons achieve higher peak performance, but human kinetic weapons have better sustained performance over long engagements. When advanced systems fail, simple systems keep working. Vexathara was studying her plasma rifle with new understanding. Our weapons are designed to be superior in ideal conditions. Your weapons are designed to function in any conditions. Exactly, Jake agreed. We assume that combat will never happen in ideal conditions. Equipment will break, communications will fail, and soldiers will have to make decisions without computer assistance. Commander Zalnith asked the question that everyone was thinking. Would it be possible to adapt human reliability principles to our existing weapon systems? Jake and Katie exchanged glances. This was the moment they had been hoping for. The aliens were finally ready to learn from human technology instead of dismissing it. It would require a completely different design philosophy, Katie said. Joining the discussion, you'd have to prioritize simplicity over complexity, proven technology over cutting-edge innovation. Dr. Kilnseth was already sketching ideas on her tablet. A hybrid approach might be possible. Energy weapons with mechanical backup systems, simplified targeting computers that can be overridden manually. The discussion continued for hours as alien engineers and tacticians explored how human reliability principles could improve their own military systems. Jake found himself at the center of conversations about weapon design, soldier training, and tactical doctrine. When the class finally ended, General Kextar approached Jake personally. Cadet Morrison, I would like to make you an offer. The Academy has never had a human instructor before, but your performance suggests we need to reconsider our approach to weapons training. Jake felt honored, but also homesick. I appreciate the offer, General, but I have obligations to Earth's military. Of course, the General replied. But perhaps we could arrange an exchange program. Human instructors could teach reliability principles here, while our experts share advanced technology with Earth. As Jake packed up his rifle, he reflected on how much had changed in just a few days. He had come to the Academy expecting to learn from advanced alien technology. Instead, he had taught them that sometimes the best technology was the kind that had been working reliably for centuries. Vexathara waited for him outside the classroom. Jake, I wanted to thank you for showing me something important. I've been so focused on having the most advanced weapon that I forgot the purpose of weapons is to complete the mission. Your plasma rifle is impressive, Jake replied. But maybe you could learn some backup skills for when the electronics fail. She laughed. I've already requested permission to train with kinetic weapons. If a human can achieve perfect accuracy with iron sights, perhaps a Zephyrian can learn to do the same. As Jake walked back to his dormitory, he passed groups of alien cadets discussing human weapons and tactics. The primitive technology that they had mocked was now the subject of serious military study throughout the Academy. Katie caught up with him in the hallway. So how does it feel to be the Academy's first human weapons instructor? Jake slung his rifle case over his shoulder. Strange, he admitted. A week ago they thought we were primitive. Now they want to learn from us. Maybe that's the most important lesson of all, Katie said thoughtfully. Advanced doesn't always mean better. Sometimes the old ways work because they've been tested by time and proven reliable. That evening, Jake received a message from Earth's military command. They had heard about his performance at the Academy and wanted a full report on alien weapons technology. But they were even more interested in the fact that simple human weapons had outperformed the galaxy's most advanced military systems. As Jake began writing his report, he realized that he had learned something important at the Academy. Humans might not have the most advanced technology in the galaxy, but they had something equally valuable, the wisdom to know that the best solution was often the simplest one that worked, reliably when lives were on the line. The alien cadets had learned to respect human weapons not because they were primitive, but because they were perfected. Sometimes the greatest innovation was knowing when to stop innovating and focus on making something work exactly the way it was supposed to, every single time. Queen Zarlin stood on the bridge of her flagship, watching the stars through the massive viewing window. Her tall, elegant form cast shadows across the metal floor as her crystalline skin glowed with soft blue light. The patterns on her body pulsed faster when she felt worried, and right now they were racing like lightning. 3 years had passed since her daughters disappeared. 7 beautiful young princesses, all gone in a single moment when their ship broke apart near a small yellow star. The queen's heart ached every day as she searched system after system, finding nothing but empty space and cold rocks. "My queen," said General Kethvar as he approached. His own crystalline skin showed red patterns of concern. "The search teams have finished scanning the Terran system. They found more debris pieces from the luminous dawn." Zaralin turned toward him quickly. "And my daughters? Any sign of the escape pods?" The general's patterns dimmed. "The pods entered the atmosphere of the third planet 3 Earth years ago. Our scientists believe they crashed on the surface." The queen's blue glow flickered to purple with grief. The third planet was inhabited by a primitive species that had barely learned to travel between their own worlds. If her daughters had survived the crash, they would be helpless among aliens who might not even recognize them as intelligent beings. "What do we know about these humans?" she asked. "They are young as a space-traveling race. Weak technology, simple weapons, basic medical knowledge. They fight among themselves often." Kethvar paused. "If the princesses survived, my queen, they would be completely at the mercy of these creatures." Far below on the human research station New Horizon, Captain Ryan Martinez was having trouble sleeping again. He walked through the quiet corridors, checking on his crew and thinking about the choice he had made 3 years ago. When they found the alien wreckage, he could have followed protocol and reported it to Earth Command immediately. Instead, he had chosen to keep the discovery secret. Ryan stopped outside the medical bay where Dr. Linda Bell was still working late into the night shift. Through the window, he could see her checking on their 7 special patients. The alien beings floated peacefully in their healing tanks, surrounded by machines that Dr. Bell had modified to keep them alive. "Still can't sleep, Captain?" Dr. Bell asked as Ryan entered the medical bay. "How are they doing tonight?" Ryan asked, looking at the 7 pods that contained the alien survivors. "Better every day. Their bodies are healing from the crash injuries, but I think they're also getting stronger because they feel safe here." Linda smiled as she checked the readings on her equipment. The youngest one, Starlight, always calms down when Katie Brooks sings to her. And Moonbeam responds well when Derek Powell tells her stories. Ryan nodded. His crew had grown attached to the aliens, giving them human nicknames since they couldn't pronounce their real names. Everyone on the station had become protective of the 7 survivors, treating them like lost children rather than potential threats. "Dr. Taylor thinks they might be royalty," Linda continued. "Their genetic patterns are incredibly complex, and the technology in their pods is centuries ahead of anything we have." "That worries me," Ryan admitted. "If they're important to their people, someone will come looking for them eventually. And when they do?" Linda asked. Ryan looked at the 7 aliens floating peacefully in their tanks. "We tell the truth. We saved them because it was the right thing to do." Back on the Velthara flagship, Queen Zaralin was meeting with her top advisors in the war room. Maps of the Terran system covered the walls, showing every planet, moon, and space station that humans had built. "The humans have several military installations," reported Admiral Veltar. "Their largest ships carry primitive nuclear weapons. They would be no match for even one of our destroyers." "I do not want to destroy them," the Queen said firmly. "I want my daughters back." "With respect, my Queen, these humans may not even realize what they have found," Kethvar suggested. "Primitive species often react to the unknown with fear or greed. If your daughters survived, they may be imprisoned, studied, or worse." Zaralin's patterns flashed bright red. The thought of her children suffering in alien laboratories made her want to reduce the entire human system to ash, but she had ruled the Velthara Empire for 2 centuries by being wise, not just powerful. "Send a message to their leaders," she ordered. "Tell them we know our people are in their system. Give them one chance to return my daughter safely." On Earth, the message from the alien queen caused panic in government buildings around the world. The massive alien fleet had appeared at the edge of the solar system without warning, carrying enough firepower to destroy every human settlement in space. General Patricia Hayes read the alien message aloud to the Emergency Council. "We are the Velthara Empire. We know you have our royal children. Return them unharmed, or face the consequences of your actions." "How do we respond to this?" asked President Collins. "We don't even know what they're talking about." Sir, interrupted a young aide, we're getting a transmission from Research Station New Horizon. Captain Martinez says he needs to speak with you immediately. Minutes later, Captain Martinez appeared on the main screen, looking tired but determined. Mr. President, I need to tell you about something my crew discovered 3 years ago. As Ryan explained about the alien crash, the survivors and the decision to keep them secret, the council members grew more shocked and angry. You kept alien royalty hidden for 3 years? General Hayes demanded. Do you have any idea what you've done? We saved 7 lives, Ryan replied calmly, and we've taken good care of them ever since. Captain Martinez, President Collins said, you may have just prevented a war, or you may have just started one. How are these aliens? Can they be moved? Dr. Bell's voice came through the communication link. 6 of them are almost fully healed and could travel safely. The youngest still needs more time, but she's stable. Queen Zaralyn waited for the human response, her pattern shifting between hope and fear. Her daughters were somewhere in that primitive system, possibly hurt, possibly afraid, possibly dead. The waiting was torture for a mother who had already lost too much. My queen, came a voice from the communication station. We are receiving a response from the human leaders. The message was simple. We have your children. They are safe. We wish to arrange their return. For the first time in 3 years, Queen Zaralyn's patterns glowed with pure joy. The Valthara fleet emerged from hyperspace like a storm of silver and light. 12 massive dreadnoughts took positions around Earth's solar system, each ship large enough to carry 100,000 warriors. Smaller vessels spread out in perfect formation, their weapons powered and ready to fire. On Earth, every military base went to maximum alert. Satellite tracking stations registered energy readings that were off all known scales. The alien ships didn't hide their power. They wanted humans to understand exactly how hopeless any fight would be. Captain Alex Wright stood on the bridge of the Earth Defense Ship Guardian, humanity's newest and most advanced warship. Compared to the alien vessels surrounding them, the Guardian looked like a toy boat next to ocean liners. Captain, reported Communications Officer Lisa Park, we're receiving a transmission from the largest alien ship. They're requesting immediate communication with Earth's leaders. Put it through, Alex ordered. The main screen filled with the image of Queen Zaralyn. Her tall, elegant form commanded respect even through a video link. Her crystalline skin showed patterns of deep blue and silver, colors that Alex's briefing materials said indicated controlled anger and determination. I am Queen Zaralyn of the Valthara Empire, she said in perfect English. You have my daughters. I want them returned immediately. President Collins appeared on a split screen from Earth. Your Majesty, we are prepared to return your children safely. They have been well cared for during their time with us. The Queen's pattern shifted to brighter blue. Prove it. I want to see my daughters now. That can be arranged, the President replied. However, they are currently on a research station. We propose that you send a representative to verify their condition. General Kethavar moved into view beside the Queen. His red patterns showed barely contained aggression. You are in no position to make demands, humans. Return the royal children or we will take them by force. Alex Wright stepped forward. Your Majesty, if I may suggest something. Captain Martinez of Research Station New Horizon has been caring for your daughters personally. Perhaps you would like to meet with him directly. Queen Zaralyn studied the human captain with intelligent eyes. You speak of care. My species has encountered many primitive races. They usually see opportunity for profit when they find something valuable. Your daughters aren't opportunities, Alex replied firmly. They're children who needed help. The Queen's patterns flickered with surprise. Something in the human's voice reminded her of her own protective instincts. I propose this, Alex continued. Come to our research station yourself. See your daughters with your own eyes. Judge for yourself how they have been treated. Kethavar's patterns flared bright red. My queen, this could be a trap. These humans might try to take you hostage. With what? Alex asked calmly. Our ships can't match yours. Our weapons can't hurt you. If we wanted to harm your children, we've had 3 years to do it. If we wanted to use them as bargaining chips, we would have contacted you long ago. Queen Zaralyn considered this logic. You ask me to trust a species I have never met. Yes, Alex replied. The same way your daughters trusted us when they were hurt and helpless. The Queen was quiet for a long moment. Her advisors whispered urgently around her, clearly opposed to any plan that put her at risk. But something about this human captain's directness appealed to her. I will come, she decided, but only to the research station. If I find that my daughters have been harmed in any way, your species will pay the price. 2 hours later, a single Valthera shuttle approached Research Station New Horizon. Captain Ryan Martinez and his senior staff waited in the docking bay, trying not to show how nervous they felt. They were about to meet the most powerful being in this part of the galaxy, and her opinion of humanity would depend on what she found. Queen Zara Lynn emerged from her shuttle with 2 guards. Even without her royal robes, she was an impressive figure, nearly 7 feet tall. Her crystalline skin showed complex patterns that shifted with her emotions. Her large, intelligent eyes missed nothing as she studied the Human Reception Committee. Your Majesty, Ryan said, bowing respectfully. Welcome to New Horizon. I'm Captain Martinez. Where are my daughters? The Queen asked without ceremony. This way, please. Ryan led the group through the station corridors. I should prepare you for what you're about to see. Your daughters have been through a lot, but they've adapted well to life here. Adapted how? They've learned some of our language. They've made friends with our crew. They've become part of our community. The Queen's patterns showed skepticism. You expect me to believe that royal Valthera children have accepted humans as companions? I expect you to see for yourself, Ryan replied. They stopped outside the recreation area where the 7 sisters were spending their afternoon. Through the observation window, Queen Zara Lynn could see her daughters engaged in various activities. Starlight was sitting with Katie Brooks, both of them laughing as Katie taught her a human card game. Moonbeam was listening intently as Derek Powell showed her pictures of Earth on a tablet computer. Crystal was helping Dr. Bell organize medical supplies while, chattering in a mixture of Valthera and English, the Queen's patterns went completely, still as she watched her youngest daughter run up to Katie and hug her with obvious affection. They seem comfortable, she said quietly. They're happy, Ryan confirmed. It took time for them to trust us, but once they realized we meant no harm, they became part of our family. Family? The Queen turned to look at him. You use that word specifically? Yes. Every person on this station would protect your daughters with their lives. We've all grown to love them. Before the Queen could respond, the door to the recreation area opened and Starlight came running out. She had sensed her mother's presence in the way that young Valthera could detect family members nearby. Mother! Starlight cried in her musical language, rushing toward Queen Zara Lynn. But halfway there, she stopped and turned back toward Katie, speaking rapidly in Valthera. Katie didn't understand the words, but she nodded and smiled. It's okay, little star, Katie said. Go to your mother. Starlight ran to the Queen and was swept up in a fierce embrace. But even as she hugged her mother, she kept looking back at Katie with obvious fondness. She wanted permission from the human before coming to me, Queen Zara Lynn said in wonder. Katie has been like a big sister to her, Ryan explained. All of your daughters have formed strong bonds with different crew members. The other sisters had noticed the commotion and came running. Soon Queen Zara Lynn was surrounded by her children, all talking at once in excited Valthera. But what shocked her most was how they kept switching to English to include their human friends in the conversation. Mother, this is Derek, Moonbeam said proudly. He tells the best stories about brave humans. And this is Dr. Bell, added Crystal. She saved my life when the healing machine stopped working. Queen Zara Lynn looked at the humans her daughters were introducing, seeing the genuine care and affection in their faces. These primitive beings had not only saved her children's lives, they had given them love and friendship. Your Majesty, Dr. Bell said respectfully, your daughters are remarkable. They've taught us as much as we've taught them. The Queen's world had just turned upside down and she wasn't sure what to think anymore. Queen Zara Lynn followed her daughters through the research station, trying to understand what she was seeing. Everything looked wrong compared to what she had expected. Instead of prison cells, she saw comfortable living spaces designed specifically for Valthera needs. Instead of restraints and monitoring devices, she saw entertainment systems and learning materials. Mother, come see my room, Starlight said excitedly, pulling the Queen toward a door decorated with colorful drawings. The room was perfect for a young Valthera. The atmospheric controls provided the exact mixture of gases her species needed. The lighting could shift to match the natural cycles of their home world. The sleeping alcove was shaped according to traditional Valthera comfort preferences. How did they know to build it this way? The Queen asked Dr. Bell, who was showing her around. We studied the pods your daughters arrived in, Linda explained. We analyzed the atmospheric readings, the gravity settings, everything we could learn about what they needed to be healthy. Then we modified our station to provide those conditions. Queen Zaralyn touched the wall controls. They were clearly human technology, but they had been programmed to respond to Valthera biosignatures. This level of modification would have required months of work. About 8 months, Ryan confirmed. We wanted to make sure your daughters felt at home. The Queen's pattern shifted to deep purple, the color of confusion and wonder. You spent 8 months modifying your station for prisoners? They weren't prisoners, Katie said firmly. They were hurt children who needed help. In another room, Moonbeam was proudly showing off her collection of Earth artifacts. She had rocks and shells from different human worlds, pictures of Earth animals, and books written in simple English that Derek had helped her learn to read. Look, Mother, Moonbeam said, holding up a small carved wooden horse. Derek made this for me. It's called a horse. Humans used to ride them before they had machines. Queen Zaralyn examined the carving. It was clearly handmade, created with patience and skill. This human made this for you personally? All the humans make things for us, Dawn said, joining the conversation. Dr. Taylor built me a music player that can record Valthera songs. Pete made special furniture that adjusts to our height. Maria learned to cook foods that taste like home. The Queen was led through the station, seeing evidence everywhere of humans going far beyond basic care. The medical bay contained equipment that had been extensively modified to handle Valthera physiology. The recreation areas included games and activities designed specifically for her daughter's interests and abilities. But what surprised her most was the way her daughters interacted with the humans. They spoke to them as friends and equals. They shared jokes and inside references. Most shocking of all, they clearly felt completely safe and comfortable around these alien beings. Your Majesty, Dr. Chris Taylor said, approaching with a data pad. I have the complete medical records for your daughters if you'd like to review them. The Queen studied the information carefully. Each daughter's injuries from the crash had been treated with remarkable skill. But more than that, the records showed consistent improvement over time, not just physically but emotionally. These readings show that they've been thriving, she said slowly. They have been, Chris confirmed, especially after they began to trust us and feel secure in their environment. You could have studied them, the Queen said. Learned their anatomy, tested their abilities, discovered their weaknesses. We could have, Dr. Bell admitted, but that would have been wrong. They were patients, not research subjects. Queen Zaralyn looked at her daughter Crystal, who was carefully organizing medical supplies alongside Dr. Bell. She understands your medical procedures? She's very bright, Linda replied with pride. She learns quickly and asks excellent questions. I think she might become a healer herself someday. The Queen watched as Crystal explained something to Dr. Bell in a mixture of English and Valthara, both of them working together as natural partners. Her daughter was not just surviving among these humans, she was growing and learning. Why? Queen Zaralyn asked suddenly. Why did you do all this? Your species barely knows space travel. You have limited resources. You could have contacted us immediately and negotiated for rewards or technology. Instead, you spent years caring for children who weren't your own. Captain Martinez considered the question seriously. Your Majesty, when we found your daughters, they were dying. They were alone and afraid and hurt. They needed help and we were the only ones who could provide it. That's not an answer, the Queen said. That's just describing the situation. Actually, it is the answer, Katie said. When children need help, you help them. That's just what you do. Even alien children? Even children from a species that could destroy your world? Especially then, Derek replied. If we only helped people when it was safe and profitable, we wouldn't really be helping at all. Queen Zaralyn was quiet for a long moment. In her long life, ruling an empire that spanned dozens of star systems, she had encountered many species. Some were conquered, some became allies, some were avoided as too dangerous. But she had never met a species that would sacrifice their own interest to protect helpless strangers. Mother, Starlight said, taking her hand. When I first woke up here, I was so scared. I didn't know where I was or what had happened to our ship. But Katie sang to me, and Dr. Bell made sure I wasn't in pain, and Captain Martinez promised that they would keep me safe. And did they? The Queen asked softly. Every day, Starlight replied. When I had nightmares about the crash, Katie would stay with me until I felt better. When I got sick from eating the wrong foods, Dr. Bell worked all night to find something that wouldn't hurt me. When I missed home, Derek would tell me stories about brave people who were far from their families but stayed strong. Queen Zaralyn looked around at the humans who had cared for her daughters. They weren't particularly impressive physically. Their technology was primitive compared to Valthara standards. Their military power was laughable compared to her fleet. But they had done something that her own advanced civilization might not have done. They had chosen compassion over opportunity, kindness over profit, love over fear. "You have given me much to think about," she told Captain Martinez. "Your Majesty," Ryan said carefully, "your daughters are welcome to return with you whenever you choose. But they're also welcome to stay here as long as they want. This will always be their home too." The Queen's pattern shifted to bright gold, the color of deep surprise and growing respect. These humans were offering to let her take her children home, but they were also offering something she had never expected, a place where her daughters could choose their own future. For the first time in her long reign, Queen Zaralyn realized she was looking at a species that might actually be worthy of the respect she had only given to her equals. And the decision she had to make would change both their civilizations forever. The news that Queen Zaralyn had found her daughters safe and well cared for spread through the Valthara fleet like wildfire. On every ship, warriors and officers gathered around communication screens to hear the impossible story. The primitive humans had not only saved the royal children, but had treated them with a level of care and respect that even advanced civilizations rarely showed. General Kethvar stood on the bridge of his command ship, studying the tactical displays. His red patterns flickered with confusion as he tried to understand what had happened. For 3 years he had prepared for war against the species that had taken the royal children. He had expected to find evidence of imprisonment, torture, or experimentation. Instead, he was looking at reports that described something completely different. "Sir," reported his communications officer, "we're receiving video transmissions from the research station. The Queen has authorized us to see her daughters." The main screen filled with images of the 7 princesses. They were healthy, happy, and clearly comfortable with their human companions. More shocking still, they were speaking in the human language and showing obvious affection for their alien caregivers. "This changes everything," Kethvar muttered to himself. On Research Station New Horizon, Queen Zaralyn was making the most important decision of her reign. She sat in the station's conference room with her daughters, Captain Martinez and his senior staff. The conversation had been going on for hours as they discussed what would happen next. "I want to go home and see our world again," Dawn said thoughtfully. "But I also want to come back here. This is home too now. The humans are our friends," added Moonbeam. "We can't just leave them and never see them again." Starlight looked between her mother and Katie Brooks with worried eyes. "Do I have to choose between my Valthara family and my human family?" Queen Zaralyn's pattern showed the deep blue of careful thought. She had ruled an empire for over 2 centuries, but she had never faced a decision quite like this one. Her daughters wanted to maintain connections to both their birth species and their adoptive human family. "Captain Martinez," she said formally, "I need to ask you something important. If my daughters choose to spend time here as well as with their own people, would your crew be willing to continue caring for them?" Ryan didn't hesitate. "Your Majesty, as far as we're concerned, your daughters will always be part of our family. They're welcome here any time for as long as they want to stay. And if our peoples become allies, would humans be interested in learning from our technology while teaching us about your culture?" Dr. Chris Taylor leaned forward excitedly. "Your Majesty, the scientific exchange possibilities would be incredible. Your daughters have already taught us so much about biocrystalline technology and harmonic healing methods. And we've learned about human medical techniques and social structures," Crystal added. "Both our peoples could benefit from sharing knowledge." Queen Zaralyn stood and walked to the observation window, looking out at the stars. Behind her she could hear her daughters continuing to plan excitedly with their human friends. The sound of their mixed languages and shared laughter was something she had never expected to hear. "I have a proposal," she announced, turning back to the group. "Captain Martinez, I would like to offer you and your crew honorary membership in the Valthara royal household. You would have the status of adopted family members with all the rights and protections that entails." The humans looked stunned. Katie stammered, "Your Majesty, we don't know what to say." "Say yes," Starlight urged. Then we can really be one big family. Furthermore, the Queen continued, I propose that we establish a joint human Valthara research station, a place where our peoples can work together, learn from each other, and build a friendship that benefits both civilizations. Dr. Bell stood up slowly. Your Majesty, are you offering to share Valthara technology with humanity? I'm offering to share it with humans who have proven they can be trusted with great responsibility, the Queen corrected. You could have exploited my daughter's knowledge and technology. Instead, you used everything you learned to better care for them. That level of moral integrity is rare in the galaxy. The discussions continued for several more hours as they worked out the details. The 7 princesses would spend half their time with the Valthara Empire and half with their human family. A new space station would be built at the edge of human territory, staffed by both species and serving as a center for cultural and scientific exchange. Most importantly, Captain Martinez and his crew would become the first humans to receive Valthara citizenship and protection. If anyone ever threatened Earth, they would be threatening members of the royal family. 3 months later, Queen Zaralyn stood on the bridge of her flagship, watching the construction of the new joint station. Human and Valthara workers labored side by side, building something that had never existed before, a symbol of partnership between species that had chosen cooperation over conquest. My queen, reported Admiral Veltar, the human delegation has arrived for the formal alliance ceremony. On the observation deck, the 7 princesses were gathered with their human family members. Starlight was teaching Katie a traditional Valthara song. Moonbeam was showing Derek how to use a translation device that would let him tell stories to Valthara children. Crystal was working with Dr. Bell to establish medical protocols that combined the best of both species' healing techniques. Your daughters seem happy, commented General Kethvar, who had become one of the strongest supporters of the human alliance after seeing how well the princesses had been treated. They are, the Queen replied. They've learned something that I think will make them better rulers someday. They've learned that strength isn't just about power or technology. Sometimes real strength means choosing to protect others even when it costs you something. The formal ceremony was unlike anything in the history of either species. Captain Martinez, Dr. Bell, Katie Brooks, Derek Powell, and the rest of the New Horizon crew were formally adopted into the Valthara royal family. They received crystalline medallions that would identify them as protected persons throughout the Empire. In return, the 7 princesses were given honorary human citizenship and permanent homes on Earth whenever they wanted to visit. But the real celebration happened that evening in the new station's recreation area. Humans and Valthara shared food, music, and stories. Children from both species played together while their parents discussed plans for joint exploration missions and cultural exchanges. Queen Zaralyn watched her youngest daughter, Starlight, sitting between Katie Brooks and Dr. Bell, chattering happily in both languages as she drew pictures of her 2 homeworlds. The sight filled the Queen's heart with a warmth she had never expected to feel. Your Majesty, Captain Martinez said, approaching with a data pad, we've received applications from over 1,000 humans who want to work on the joint station project. And I have received similar applications from Valthara citizens, the Queen replied. It seems both our peoples are excited about this partnership. Ryan smiled. Your daughters taught us that family isn't just about blood or species. It's about caring for each other. Queen Zaralyn's patterns glowed with the soft gold of deep contentment. They learned that from you, Captain. When you chose to protect children who weren't your own, you showed them what true family means. As the celebration continued around them, the Queen reflected on the incredible journey that had brought them to this moment. She had begun by searching for her lost daughters. Instead, she had found something much more valuable, a species worthy of friendship, respect, and love. The humans had proven that sometimes the greatest strength was also the greatest kindness, and in doing so they had changed the galaxy forever.